Yo, what's going on, YouTube world? All right, let me just go ahead and cut to the chase. This is a reaction to the David Benavidez David Morrell fight that just ended. All I'm gonna say is this: now that was a fight. That was a fight. That's what I'm talking about when we talk about the sport of boxing. That was a fight, bro. If they fight a rematch, I may have to buy it because I fire stick the mess. I fire stick the mess out of this fight. And fire stick wasn't even working until midway through the co-main event, the Stephen Fulton fight. And then I was luckily able to watch the entire Benavidez versus Morrell fight. Now, I'm a fan of David Benavidez because of his fighting style. Yeah, but make no mistake about it, he's a pressure fighter. Okay, he is a pressure fighter. He's like a better version of Antonio Margarito. Um, he has more power, but he was moving up in this fight to light heavyweight. He had been in super middleweight. Everybody knows he's been looking to fight Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo Alvarez to me has been total BS. I'm not gonna cuss yet. I'm gonna wait at least for 2 minutes. Canelo Alvarez has been total BS as to why he hasn't fought David Benavidez yet. So he moved up to light heavyweight to fight David Morrell. And I can't necessarily say that I think highly of most boxers who only have a handful of fights. David Morrell's 11-0 coming in this fight. David Benavidez 29-0. But again, I tell you, that was a fight. That was an all-out war. And I look at the judges' scorecards, and I'm like, what fight were you watching? I mean, they came out trading and slugging in the first quarter of the fight, the first 4 rounds. And it looked like Benavidez was kind of starting to pull away. But here's the thing about this fight. I say rounds 5 through 9, you could give 3 of them to Benavidez. Now, the unofficial judge on the for the pay-per-view had given round 5 to Benavidez, around that I thought that should have went to David Morrell. But be that as it may, what I didn't like, and I tried to call my cousin right around the 6th round to see, to pick his brain about the fights because we fight fans. But around the 6th round, I was looking at David Benavidez's footwork and the way he was throwing punches. His footwork was not good at all, and he was throwing punches that was leaving him wide open. And David Morrell, who clearly was the better boxer, the superior boxer of the two, I was saying to myself, yo, David Benavidez is going to fuck around and get it clipped if he doesn't, tighten up his footwork. And sure enough, in the 11th round, he got clipped with a flash knockdown. And it wasn't no devastating punch, but he got clipped where his gloves hit the canvas because, again, he threw a punch. He was out of position. His footwork wasn't good, and he got clipped and it was a flash knockdown. And I was like, okay, because I thought Benavidez was maybe up by about 3 points in the 11th round. But I'm like, okay, now we have a 2-point round. Now let's get this going to get interesting because this could be a 2-point round for Morrell. But Benavidez, wanting to prove that he wasn't hurt, just came out, right before the end of the 11th round and was wailing on Morrell. And after the bell rung, Morrell hit him with a right hook. And I was like, what? Why'd you do that? And he lost the point. The referee took a point. So I was like, well, damn, you may as well just give it a knockdown back. But what I noticed immediately after the punch is that he hit David Benavidez ass good. He caught him right on the chin with a right hook. Benavidez legs got a little spaghetti leg for a quick little second. And okay, he was upset that he lost the point. I can understand because it was clearly after the bell. I can understand why the point was taken away. I don't blame the referee for that. But I'm sitting there thinking, okay, David Benavidez is going to need more than the 1 minute a lot of time between rounds to recover from that shot. He hit his ass good. He hit him good. And I was like, if Morrell, if I'm Ronnie Shields, I'm telling Morrell to come out here in the 12th round and try to take this motherfucker out. Try to take him out. Because I'm telling you, David Benavidez was shook after that right hook after the bell in the 11th round. But what I don't understand, and they went at it in the 12th round again. This was an absolutely great fight. But the judges, you had two judges scoring the fight, 115 to 111. Benavidez, I guess I would have had it maybe a point closer, maybe even 2 points closer. But one judge had it 118 to 108. And I'm like, what the fuck fight were you watching? You was one of them. You was already in the pocket head ass motherfucker. So I'm sitting here saying, and I was able to talk to my cousin after the fight, and he was like, man, I missed the whole damn fight. I fell asleep. I said, nigga, you missed the fight. I said, that was a fight. I said, my nigga, that there was a fight. I said, if they have a rematch, which if you look at the scorecards, you would say, what do you need a rematch for? But if you look at the fight, you'll say they need to fight again because the judging was ridiculous. The judging was ridiculous. And I'll say this about David Benavidez, moving up to light heavyweight. He's a hell of a fighter. David Benavidez will not beat Benavidez or Bivol, and their rematch is in 3 weeks. 3 weeks from the day, February 22nd, for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. And he's supposed to be in line to fight the winner of that. He will not beat either of those fighters because they're boxers. They are both boxers who can slug. David Benavidez is a pressure fighter. He's a pressure fighter who can get caught. He's a marginal, average boxer. His superpower in the ring is his superpower in the ring is his ability to take shots and to absorb punishment and keep moving forward and pressuring you. See, David Benavidez is that type of fighter who superstar fighters like Canelo Alvarez will avoid as long as possible. You want him to absorb as much punishment as you can before you actually get in the ring with him. I will say this. David Benavidez will beat Canelo. He would beat Canelo Alvarez if they get in the ring. He will beat him. But styles make fights. Benavidez will not beat either Benavidez or Dimitri Bivol, no matter who comes out of that fight, because if Bivol wins, and that's setting up, if Bivol wins a rematch, that's setting up for a third fight. So you're not going to, I doubt if you see, unless it's a quick knockout, if you see Benavidez fighting either one of those fights, the quickest amount. Now, if Benavidez wins, then you can see that fight. You'll probably see that fight in summer. You'll see this summer. But if Bivol wins, you're looking at a third fight. Unless Bivol comes out and knocks him out in the first couple of rounds, you won't see Benavidez getting in the ring with either of these brothers until late this year. But be that as it may, he ain't gonna beat neither one of them because of the way he fights, because of his style of fighting. He'll beat Canelo, and I think Canelo knows that, which is why Canelo has been pretty much avoiding him. And Canelo, especially being a Mexican fighter, he should be ashamed of himself for doing that. Because this is a big money fight. If you want to fight Terrence Crawford, you want to fight somebody 3 weight classes smaller than you because you want that over the hill pot of gold fight. I mean, as a diehard boxing fan, to me, that shit doesn't make any sense. You should fight David Benavidez. Just go ahead and fight him. Get that. That's a pot of gold fight right there too. If Canelo Alvarez announced tomorrow or tonight, my next fight is going to be against David Benavidez, that's a pot of gold fight. That's what it is. But I would rather see that than Benavidez going up against the winner of Benavidez and Bivol because, excuse me, he's not going to win that fight because of the style. Those two natural light heavyweights, mind you, that part two, Benavidez is moving up from super middleweight. And that just because you're moving up doesn't mean the power is always going to move up with you. And David Benavidez is not a power fighter. He is a pressure fighter. There's a big difference. But those styles make fights. He'll beat Canelo. He won't beat Benavidez or Bivol. He just won't. But this was a hell of a fight, though. Shout out to both fighters, David Benavidez and David Morrell. This was a hell of a fight. This was a great fight. The judges are, especially 118 to 108, completely off their rocker with that bullshit. But this was an outstanding fight. Great fight. Great night for boxing. Shout out Stephen Fulton as well, beating Figueroa to win that belt. Great night for boxing. Great fight. I love boxing. I do. I love boxing. I don't talk about it enough on Sports Plus Life because you don't really have major matchups like you need to. Now, I know Tank fights next month against Lamont Roach. I can't wait to see that neither. I can't wait to see that fight. I might have to pay for that motherfucker because Tank really and Terrence Crawford are the only two where I'm like, okay, I have to see them fight. So shout out to David Benavidez for winning this fight. Shout out to David Morrell for putting up a hell of a fight. Shout out to both of them. I hope they do a rematch. I really do. This was an outstanding night for boxing. Whoever had 118 to 108 on the scorecards needs not to judge a major league headlining fight again, because you may have to check their pockets. But it's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns. I will see you at Sports Plus Life on Tuesday. And great fight. Great night for boxing. See you soon.